Gentle ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to this YouTube channel. This is Samuel Warago Senior, and this is the place where we gather gems of wisdom here and there, and then we use these gems of wisdom to be able to navigate this terrain that we call life. And as I keep reminding you, we do this fully aware that it's too bad to step on other people's toes lest they take you to jail for having stepped on their rights and freedoms. So once again, welcome. Now, our gem of wisdom today, we get it from this book. We get it from this book. This is the Odyssey of Homer. This is the Odyssey of Homer, and we are picking it from book 5. And as a reminder, this is a journey home. We are longing for home. Two men are longing for home, a father and his son. But these two men are faced by a circumstance that is very unique. They have been separated for 20 years. And each of them is longing to see each other. And as we follow these men, we also gather wisdom here and there. And our gem today is from book 5. That is the gem of wisdom. That is the gem of wisdom. Those words were spoken to Odysseus. Those words were spoken to Odysseus, or rather Odysseus, depending on the version you are using, by a seagull or a nymph by the name Ino, or rather Ino, I-N-O. And these words, from these words, we are generating two emerging issues that we need to talk about that are very relevant to us in the 21st century. Because this journey happened very many years ago in the 8th century BC. But then there are so many values from that story that remains, as we shall see. But before that, allow me to give you some little context where these words are coming from. And before I do that, remember, in the other video, I talked about two kings, King Menelaus of Sparta and King Nestor of Pylos. And it is the wife of King Menelaus, Helen, who was the cause of the war that took Odysseus away for all these years. And she felt so sorry when she saw Telemachus go there to ask about the information of his own dad. Now, in this book 5, we encounter, we find that the gods have already met. One of the goddesses has been sent to go and speak to the leader of the other gods. To go out and tell Calypso, because it is this goddess called Calypso that has decided to hold this man called Odysseus. She is spending nights with him. And during the day, this man is spending crying, weeping, looking at the sea, hoping that one day he will be reunited with his dear wife Penelope. One day. This Calypso is not happy because she has an intention of transforming a mortal man into an immortal. What does that mean? This is Greek mythology, no problem. So when this information reaches Calypso, that there has come a command that you must release this man to go back to his people. What does she have to do? She has to cooperate, of course, against her will. So what do? They create a ship, a kind of a makeshift ship, a raft, that Odysseus will use to be able to continue with his voyage all the way to a place we call Phoenicians, the land of the Phoenicians. From there he will be, of course, nearer to his people. And then they go out. And then the time comes when Odysseus leaves. But then, while still on sea, Poseidon, the god of the sea, sees this man, and he remembers that this old man, Odysseus, did a very bad thing to my family. And I don't want him to go home safely. I would like to continue seeing this young man suffer in the sea. So the man suffers, and then this goddess called Ino presents herself as a mortal woman and talks to Odysseus. And she tells him these words. She tells him these words. These words. Cast off this garment and leave the raft drift before the wind. But do thou swim with thine heart and strive to win a footing on the coast of the Phoenicians, where it is decreed that thou escape. Again, Odysseus doesn't trust the words from this goddess. In the same way, he refused to trust the goodwill, somehow in quotes, that was extended to him by Calypso when Calypso released him from the cave. So what happens? What do we get from this? What exactly do we get from this? Finally, the garments Odysseus is wearing goes, and then she puts on the veil. He puts on the veil given to him by this nymph called Ino. And then he is able to swim. He is able to swim all the way to the land of the Phoenicians, where now he is able to proceed with his journey. But what do we get from this gem? What do we get from this gem? We ask ourselves one question or two questions. Why did this goddess insist to the Odysseus that he should do two things? One, that he should remove the garment that he was wearing, the garment that he had left with when he was held up by Calypso. And why I say that he must leave the raft and for the rest of the journey swim with his own heart. Point number one, and this is very important, is that it would make him less visible to the angry god Poseidon, the god of the sea. Another thing is that it would make him less vulnerable. Even when you are on a journey, a very serious journey, you just don't carry heavy things. you just carry light things that will just be able to facilitate your journey. That's something that we need to understand. Number 2 is that this goddess is telling this man to strip off those garments and to do away with the lust, and instead pick the garments she provides, and of course for the rest of the journey swim with his own hands. This is a defined plan that is there to ensure that this man goes home. And what does this have to do with us? Today, right now, as you are watching and you are listening to this, what does it have got to do with me and you anyway? Now, this is what you also need to pay close attention to. That at times, we find ourselves in problems. But then there's that small voice that is telling us, that small defined voice that is telling us to strip some of the things that are making us heavy and proceed with the journey. Remember, there's a musician who sings, Elekialonyeki awo wenyite leile Lekialonyeki tondo nolutwike Elekialonyeki and we proceed like that. Now, the same thing. Release. Because for you to get something, you must of course spread your heart so well for somebody else to be able to praise whatever is going to help you. But if you fold your heart like that, nothing, nowhere to praise anything. And when your heart is spread like that one, someone might be able to hold your heart and walk you through, to hold your heart. That is something that we need to think more about. Another thing is, of course, to the people who give other people advice. This is also very important. Enoch, in this book 5, does not only tell Odysseus to remove the outer garments and to do away with the lust, but she also offers her help, the veil, the kindness, the compassion that she extends to this man. Today, when you offer someone advice, that you want someone, do you also ask yourself, what is going to be my role? What am I going to participate in whatever that I'm telling this person to do? You are telling someone to go out and look for a job. But do you ask yourself, in that going out, apart from saying it's good to move out, are you willing to facilitate at least part of the moving out? Money will be required. Transport costs will be required. Someone will require an introduction somewhere. Do you offer yourself to do that introduction? Do you offer yourself to give that, to facilitate at least some of these journeys? Not just saying, do this, and then you leave. Do you dare to stay and experience the action itself? Do you? So those are things that we need to reflect much upon. They are majorly two. One, as the people who need advice, what is that small voice that is speaking to you that you are ignoring because of the history that you have created in the past that is blinding you and creating some doubt in you? There is some defined voice. Listen to it. And number 2, if you are giving advice, are you willing to be part of the solution, not just verbally, but also in action? Think about it. This is Samuel Walago Sr. and this is the place to be. Thank you so much. Do have a nice time.